Hello, so this is Garrett, and I'm going to show you how to set up Xcode so that you can use it with GitHub to remotely store and subversion your Xcode projects. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go to github.com. Once you go to github.com, you should see this. And what you want to do is you want to create an account, so click this link up here that says sign up. So create a free account here. And then go ahead and type in your username and your email address and the password, obviously, and then click create an account. I've already created an account, so I'll just go ahead and log in like so. Okay, so whenever you go to github.com, you should see this page right here, and what you want to do now is you want to click new repository over here. Here's a list of all of your repositories that you have. And so click new repository. You usually you want to create a new repository for each project in Xcode that you have. So go ahead and click on new repository and call it anything you want. You just can't have any spaces in it, I don't think. So I'm going to call mine iOS test and add a little description. Okay, and then make sure that you make sure it's public. It won't let you set it as private since it's a free account. Make sure this box is unchecked because you don't want to. You don't want it to be pre-populated. You don't want the repository to be pre-populated with any data. So making sure this is unchecked, just click on create repository, and it'll create it for you, and it'll pop up with this little information box. Basically, what this means is that you have to set up your repository and populate it with with a commit before you can see it, which makes sense. So now what you want to do is you want to open up Terminal. So open up a terminal, and what you want to do is the first time that you start using Git, like now, you want to run these two commands right here to configure Git with your user information. You only need to do this once. I'm going to go ahead and do it again though. Okay, so again, you only need to do that once, no matter how many repositories you make. It just sets it on this computer. So do this every time you use a new computer, I guess. Okay, so what you want to do now is you want to go and well, we need to set up an SSH key first. This is again something that you only need to do once. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the account settings. We'll just open that new tab here, and then in account settings on the left side you'll see this thing called SSH keys. So go ahead and click on that. And what you want to do is we're going to add an SSH key. And there's a guide here at this link that will tell you how to set one up if your computer doesn't already have one. We'll go ahead and do that just in case you don't have one. Basically what it comes down to is that you need to open up a terminal and type in this command. And if you get an error here, then that means that you don't have an SSH key. But go ahead and type in ls and press enter. And if you don't see these two files listed here, idrsa and idrsa.pub, then that also means you don't have an RSA key set up. So if you get an error after typing this line, or if these two files don't exist, then that means you need to set up a new key. If they do exist, then don't do this next part, which is to type in SSH keygen. It's listed right here. We're running this command. So the type is an RSA key that we want to set up. Here, type in your email address. So in this part, go ahead and just press enter. And here you have the option of creating a passphrase if you want. That means that even if you have this RSA key, you need a password to still use it. For all intents and purposes, you don't really need this unless you're doing a lot of SSHing to other computers. So go ahead and just press enter to say that you don't want to enter in a passphrase, and press enter again. And there you go. It created the SSH key, and it should have been created in this directory. So if you just ls, then it should pop up here, or ls this .ssh is the same thing. So you should see these two files. Okay, so now that we have those set up, what we want to do is go ahead and cat, which means to print out the contents of a file. It's weird. Cat, you're going to type in tilde/.ssh/id_rsa .pub and press enter, and you should get all this mumble jumble here. What you want to do is just go ahead and copy everything that's printed out, and it's going to start with SSH-RSA and end with probably your email address. So all that's printed out, just go ahead and copy that. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to GitHub. We can go ahead and close out of this tutorial. We already went over all of that stuff. Close the tutorial. So we're back here at the account settings in the SSH key section. And what you want to do is go ahead and click add SSH key. And in the key box here, go ahead and just paste what we just copied. So here's that mumble jumble that you just got from your public SSH key. And go ahead and type a name for your computer. So like mine is, the name of my computer is Plianto2, but I'll just type in an example. And click add key. I already have an SSH key set up, so I don't need to add this again, but mine's listed right here. Okay, so now that we have that set up, go ahead and close this out to go back to your repository that you just set up. Okay, so now that we have the repository ready to go, let's go ahead and go to XCode and create a new XCode project. We're just going to create a basic application, actually that doesn't have anything in it, but we'll go ahead and just call it test. So that looks good, just click next. This is just a dummy application that doesn't really do anything, just to give you an example of how this works. So go ahead and save your project like you normally would. I saved mine in this projects folder here, but go ahead and make sure that this check mark here is checked, because that means that Xcode will set up subversioning for you and create a local Git repository for you, and you can use that local Git repository to publish it to GitHub. So make sure that's checked and click create. Okay, so you've created your project here, and we're going to look at some code, I guess. This one looks good. So, for example, let's say that you are typing away and adding code. You'll save your file like normally. Since you have a local Git repository, what you can do is you can go ahead and go to File, Source Code, Source Control, Commit to commit a version of your code. You should do this as often as possible, really. Add a little message here reminding you of what you just committed, and then just click commit. These checkboxes here, by the way, tell you what files have changed. So if you click on this one, this is the one that matters. See, this is the line that I just now added versus the one before it, which didn't have that line. Anyway, go ahead and click commit. And so up to this point, that commit just happened on your local computer. But in order to publish it to Xcode, what you want to do is you want to go to File, Source Control, Repositories, and then find your project listed on the left-hand side. In this case, it's test. And then under the test section, go ahead and click remotes. And we're going to add a remote. Basically, we're going to, back in our repository, it gives us all of this code and stuff that we can run to set up our repository, but since we're doing it through Xcode, Xcode will do a lot for us. The only thing we really need is this line right here, which is just where your repository is located on GitHub. So go ahead and just copy this, this git at github.com colon your username slash the name of your project dot get, well, the name of your repository. So yeah, just copy that and go back to Xcode and paste that into the location box. You can name the remote repository whatever you want. I'm just going to name it iOS test GitHub to say that, so that I know that it's a GitHub repository. I don't think it can have spaces or parentheses, but I'm not sure. If you get an error, just make sure that it doesn't have any of those here. But go ahead and just click create, and there you go. Okay, so your project, your test project, is now set up to publish your commits to GitHub. So what you do is, as you're typing away and adding more code, you make sure you save the files as you use them, but go to File, Source Control, and commit like you normally would before. You commit like before, and this commits it to your local computer. But now, what's different now is that if you want to publish it to GitHub, what you do is you go to File, Source Control, and Push. And what Push does is that it publishes all of the revisions that you've had up to now, everything that you've committed, every single commit up to now, and put it on GitHub. So this little box will pop up, and what you want to do is, it should say it's online, so that's good. Right now, it has selected for us automatically our Git repository, which is called iOS test GitHub, and it's going to create it in the master branch. And this create here means that's going to create it for us, so that's nice of Xcode. So go ahead and click push here, and you'll see here that the push was successful, so that's encouraging. And now, what that means is that if we go back to our repository by going to GitHub and clicking in the our repository section, clicking iOS test, and as you see now, here's our code that we just committed. Here's all of our code, and oh, here it is. Here are the lines that we added, and all of this is again public and everything, so anyone can look at your code, but they can't change it without your permission, kind of thing. If we add more code and save it like we normally would, and commit it like we normally would, add a comment. We've committed it, and if we push it, notice this time that as we're pushing it the second time to GitHub, that it's pushing it to the master branch, which already exists. It's not creating it anymore. So that it's just going to push this new change to GitHub, so just push there. Okay, so that was successful, and I did that to show you that if you go back to GitHub and go back to your repository, you'll notice that there was another commit. See, this is the one that I just now committed just now. It wasn't there a few seconds ago, and if we look at that file that I just unnecessarily modified, I think it's this one. Yeah, there's that line of code. So that's how you publish your Xcode projects to GitHub, and it's a useful way to subversion all of your projects. Makes it easy to share with other people, and it's just really nice to just have all of your code in one central location that you can get to from any computer. So thanks for watching, and I hope this helps. Thanks.